Hello and welcome to On the Other Hoof, our weekly edition where we're going to be previewing the Channel 4 races of Saturday afternoon for you. We've got some big racing coming up, including a quote-unquote champion hurdle trial up at Haydock, providing the meeting pass inspection in the morning, and of course the return of Sprinter Sacra, who we wish well. We'll be discussing that a little bit more later on, joined today by Adam Webb in Liverpool. Evening, Adam.
Evening, I was waiting for that after last week.
And Mr. Medell here, Callum Medell, off time form. Sorry.
Yeah, cheers.
What about Coral's 89th most influential tweeter? What about that? That was a good one this week.
You need a new intro.
Yeah, I'll just be adding too much onto your bit. 89th influential tweeter. Time form.
You never introduce yourself either.
I'm Luke Elder. Just hi. Great.
Well, this is a strong start.
As always, you can tweet us at On The Other Hoof with any selections, fancies that you may have for tomorrow's racing, even Sunday's racing or anything about racing in particular. Basically, at On The Other Hoof is where you can find us on Twitter, and we will read out every single question at the end of the show. I would mention our naps last week, but
let's not. I'd like to try as well.
Solid as a rock.
Well,
I'm dying inside, especially after yesterday.
Well, I made a fatal error and changed my mind, and my nap was going to be Sago Success, but then I changed my mind to Shantu Bob, who had breathing difficulties. So yeah, I said the better.
We're going to start tomorrow with the 150 at Ascot, the OLBG.com Mares Hurdle. Registered as the Warfield Mares Hurdle. It's a grade 2 over 3 miles. Interesting event, Adam. We were talking about a bit of a puzzle beforehand and how she has a severe lack of a turn of foot, but that might be exactly what's needed here.
I agree with that completely. I think that last time out at Haydock's more of a speed track now, and 2.5 wasn't going to suit her. So to finish as close as she did to the Pirates Green, I know Dennis O'Regan was being very showman-like towards the end with how he rode her, but I just think the step up to 3 miles is what she clearly wanted. The softer ground here is no issue, and I can just see her going from the front and grinding it out against these. I mean, Carol Spirit's your favourite. She was given a great ride by Darryl Jacob at Kempton last time out. Now, it was him giving her a great ride, and the rest of them were given terrible rides because he nicked it at the start, and he was able to ride a sensible race in the front, and I don't think he'd be able to do that here, although she is well clear on ratings. But the thing I will say about Mare's ratings, some of them are absolutely baffling, and I made the point to you guys off there about a horse called Tara Point, who's rated 135. Now, if she ran in a handicap off that, I'd be all over her. I don't think they will, because Paul Nichols absolutely loves her and thinks that she's a really good mare. So, bit of a puzzle is my idea of the winner.
Yeah, what do you have chasing a bit of a puzzle home?
Probably Land of Vic. I liked her win last time out at Kempton, and I think she's a strong stayer as well, but I think bit of a puzzle may be too good for her, even with a lack of experience over hurdles.
Yeah, I'm going to side with a bit of a puzzle as well. I think Noel Feely, obviously, a fantastic jockey looking, but she just looked like a horse that would stay about 6 miles and just grind it out from the front. As mentioned, she doesn't have a turn of foot whatsoever. She just goes in the front and then runs them into the ground behind her. She'll probably be one of the first ones off the bridle, but that doesn't mean that she's necessarily in trouble. She'll just be trying to get the others off the bridle in behind her and try and get them in trouble at as early a stage as possible. Ascot probably will play to her strengths if she can really kick on and start racing out of probably Swinley Bottom really as they begin their incline up towards the home bend. Then she might be able to get a few of them in trouble, and then the home straight is really where she could do her damage. She jumps very well on the whole as well, but it's probably not the strongest of events. There's some very good horse in it, granted. A few questions over stamina. I know you're going to have a quick chat about Mischievous Millie, I think, but she put in a really good comeback run a couple of weeks ago behind a horse called Aurora Destraval, who's destined to go for the Mares Hurdle at the Cheltenham Festival and would go there with a huge chance. So Mischievous Millie, if she improves, she'd have to have a huge chance here tomorrow.
I don't think she's going to improve quite that much.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
She's got some of the better form in this field, especially those two white runs behind Glenn's Melody, not being far behind Glenn's Melody, who I'd probably have winning this. So I think I'd definitely have winning this. Yeah, Mischievous Millie could improve as well for the step up in trips. First start over this sort of trip. I think she needed that run 2 weeks ago. Wouldn't surprise me if that was kind of the plan, to get a run into her quickly and give her an easy time, and then set her up for a more valuable prize that's here. I think she won that Sandham race the year before, but or did she win that Sandham prize? I'm making that up. Totally making that up. I think.
You're completely making that, mate. Well, good.
Yeah, good start. But no, I want to be taking on a bit of a puzzle, especially. I think it's got plenty to find. I know she might appreciate the trip, but I know Harry Fry's been in very good form as well, but she doesn't deserve to be 4-1 on form. Carol Spirit probably deserves to be favourite. Second last year, £5 penalty to contend with, and there's some improving there. So I quite like Mischievous Millie at 6s.
It's not a bad race, actually, looking at it on the whole.
It's not, actually.
No. I mean, I think we crabbed it sort of before the video, but you look at it now, and it's more than competitive, and there's a few classier mares in there. But not a bad start today. We're going to move on to the race at the start of the show. I dubbed the quote-unquote champion hurdle trial, and that's what it is, in fairness. It's the StanJames.com champion hurdle trial, a grade 2 over 2 miles at 2:05 at Haydock. The reason I said quote-unquote champion hurdle trial is that the new one really just has to jump around to win, with his closest pursuer in the betting market being Bertimon at 7-1, who really isn't a champion hurdle class horse, in fairness. But Adam, the new one, just surely has to turn up to win it.
Right, I could do this preview in less than 10 seconds. The new one wins, Bertimont chases him home. There's your forecast. Next race.
Yeah, there's not really much point in dwelling into. I would say there's one that's going to give Bertimont a run for second, and only because the ground is absolutely bottomless there, and that'll be Desert Cry, who's had a recent run. Didn't run too badly, I didn't think, but he's obviously way out of his class here. Better known as a chaser these days. He was a decent hurdler back in his time, but on this ground at 16-1, he's more than worth. He's 50p each way. It's not really a big betting race whatsoever. The new one, you'd be mortified if you got beat in this field. I'd have Desert Cry to chase him home just for a bit of interest in the forecast.
He was second in the same race in 2012.
Well, Desert Cry was
behind Celestial Halo, but yeah, look, let's not ruin it. The new one just looks as good as ever this season for me. Jumps as better than ever. It looks a more complete package, so he should win this very comfortably.
I think the new one's probably looked the best that he's ever looked to me this season.
I've no doubt. I agree with that. Yeah, absolutely.
I just think
performance where he beat Vanator at Cheltenham was really impressed with him that day. I know we're all big Faheen fans, but I respect the new one completely for the champion hurdle. It's not a one horse race. Like some people fill it up, you're either on one side or the other. If either horse won, I wouldn't be surprised. Even you could throw jet skiing as well. It's not the champion hurdle preview, but you know what I mean. Bertimont will appreciate a flatter track. I'll say that as well. He didn't get up the hill at Cheltenham, and Dan Skelton said last week on the morning line that a flattered track like Haydock would suit, and then realised that the new one was turning up, so they'll come for second place.
It's with the new one though. It's obviously we had the quotes from Sam Twiston-Davis a couple of seasons ago, really saying that he's got that one burst of speed, and you have to utilise that perfectly. I think he's a more rounded character now, in the sense that he can put to use his stamina, but he's also still got that devastating turn of foot that Sam can use whenever he wants. His jumping, we've been debating for a long time, it's not that bad. He's never really looked in danger of falling, has he? No. It's like Faheen. It's not great, it's not 100% there, but he's never really looked like coming down. He never really loses momentum at hurdle, does he?
No.
Like, it's not something to really lose sleep over, but I do think the new ones look the best that he has this season, and I hope he comes through tomorrow with flying colours, and we can start looking forward towards the champion hurdle in March. We're going to the 225 at Ascot, the Celt Bray Holloway's hurdle, a grade 2 handicap of 2 miles 3 and 110 yards. Very competitive handicap for only 8 runners. Garde La Victoire's one, Adam, that's been in brilliant form all season. Steps up in trip here, which might be just what the doctor's ordered.
Yeah, I think a step up in trip is what he wants. I still think I have a nagging doubt in my mind. I know he won the Great Wood on really soft ground, but I've got nagging doubt still that he wants better ground. And the reason he won the Great Wood was because he was given an absolute peach ride by Richard Johnson because nobody wanted to make the run and reap the rewards from it. I think the ground should be okay for him at Ascot tomorrow. I know it's soft, but Ascot's soft compared to elsewhere. I think he should get away with it, and he's your likely winner. But one I will put up as an each-way selection, I'll put Abracadabra Savola up. Now, I know he was absolutely stuffed out of sight by Kilcooley at Haydock, and the form is questionable. But I just think 2 mile free round here could be his bag, and he's not going to give the leaders here so much rope like they gave Kilcooley at Haydock. He'd be the each-way selection. Le Mercury is a horse that I do like, but I just think he's in a transition period where he's one of those horses that's come over from France, needs a year to acclimatise, but I do see the step up in trip suiting him. But he's one for next year, basically. Gala Victoire is your winner, and the bet I am going to put up is Abracadabra Savola each way.
You've liked Abracadabra Savola for a long time, haven't you now?
Not me. I've not really liked him for a long time. I think.
But was that Sleepy Haven?
Sleepy Haven's the one I've liked. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, don't mention Sleepy Haven.
Ever since that race, I've got them mixed up as the one that Adam likes. I always get the wrong one. I'm completely the same with Gala Victoire. On his reappearance this season at Aintree, I just said that he'll win a big handicap hurdle if he can jump properly. I didn't expect that big handicap to be the Greatwood, but he won it very nicely. He's since gone on and come 5th in the Ladbroke, where he was carrying a big weight. It was a very competitive handicap hurdle, and they went off a very fast pace, so you can understand why he got a little bit outpaced in it. I don't think he's a true 2-miler. He'll come into his own over fences, and I have no doubt about that. This is more like his trip, though, and it doesn't look the hardest of handicap hurdles, albeit it is very competitive. But to carry 11.10 and not give a great deal of amount of weight away to probably the main protagonists in the field, I'd be disappointed if he got beat tomorrow. The ground is, you could probably make up to a bit of a worry, but he's shown this year that he handles it perfectly well. So there aren't too many chinks in Gala Victoire's armour. He just has to win off a mark of 154, which is a fairly steep mark. But he's just been in form all season, which is more than you can say about a few of the others. Baradari's been struggling a little bit recently, but I just think 4-1 about Gala Victoire is fairly decent value. One to maybe chase him home. Raven Black could still be one that's fairly well handicapped. Tom Garner gave him a brilliant ride at Sandown, 2 weeks ago from the front. If he can utilise end tactics again, then off 10 stone 4 in this ground, that's not even including Tom Garner's £5 claim. 8-1 could look at a decent each way price about Raven Black with the 3 places, but Gala Victoire is definitely my idea of the winner. Raven Black possibly as an each way shout.
The only concern I've got about Raven Black is the fact that he looks an out and out 2-miler, and he cannot do what he did at Sandown if he's going to last out, basically.
No.
Yeah, that's
my way of seeing Raven Black, because I had my doubts about him last time, but he was given a great ride. Yeah.
I do agree with that. Obviously, that they won't be as forceful tomorrow.
Yeah.
Ascot. If they do, then they're shooting themselves in the foot. But saying
is he?
you know
they're not going to be as forceful, but will he give them any opportunities to not be forceful? I mean, the amount of times that horse pulls its way to the front.
In defence of Tom Garner as well, at Sandown, he did ask to kick on a long way from home. Literally, as soon as they straightened up, he was pretty much asking Raven Black to go on and win his race. So it's a long old straight at Sandown, especially up the hill.
That day it seemed the right thing to do because nothing was closing from the back that day. So it seemed the right decision to make.
Higher in a much better race.
He did walk home though, so yeah.
I said as an each way alternative.
I can't see him placing.
That's screw you. Go on and Guru wins it.
I think the market will be very informative. Mainly of Willem. I'm going for Willem. The David Pipe horse. He's coming over from France. He could be very much anything. If there's money for him, that would be real significance. And also for the Mercury, who was subject to some really good reports by the Paul Nicholls yard before he ran last time. The form of that Joe Field has obviously worked out really well, but he was quite disappointing, even though he looked fairly fit on the day. But again, it's money. If there's money for him, it'd be significant. Gala Victoire's definitely been crying out for this trip, but has he got much more of 154? I think that's quite steep.
It is steep. I give you that, but
I agree with Adam. I think potentially on better ground over 2.5 miles, I think he's competitive. But
I know this may sound silly, but the Coral Cup maybe. I know off 154 is a big act.
Right on the street, because he's a horse that could potentially, find a bit of improvement, like a Whisper kind of horse.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
And build into a 2.5, 3 miler in time, or should do, especially over fences. But I think that's quite steep tomorrow, especially on soft ground. I might chance Baradari, just maybe hope that he finds a bit of improvement over 2.5. I mean, he looked a real strong stayer to me last year when he was second to Harristown at Huntingdon. They were well clear, and he just looked a proper stayer to me that day. And if there's any trainer that can get a horse to stay in the mud, then it's Venetia Williams. So a little bit more improvement for Baradari at this sort of trip. He often runs well at Ascot as well, so I might chance him.
Yeah, so we're completely disagreeing on that races.
Yeah. Well, look at the market. I mean, we should do, really.
Yeah,
I mean, you've got 6.
It's a wide open handicap.
8 to 1 or less. So, yeah.
Is Baradari going to be your SS horse as well?
Probably will be, yeah.
Oh.
Well, it's going to have to be, isn't it?
Before we go on to the next at Haydock, just a reminder that you can get in touch with us here at On The Other Hoof by tweeting us. You can find us on Twitter at On The Other Hoof. You can tweet us any fancy or question you've got about tomorrow's racing or horse racing in general, and we will read it out at the end of the show. We go back to Haydock now for the 240, the 888 Sport Graduation Chase, over 2 miles and 5 furlongs. A field of 6 go to post here. I'm going to describe it as a deceptively tough race, Adam, with the likes of Carrickmore and the Third Intention in there. But you've also got the likes of Morleschi, who's a decent yardstick, and then Little Glenshee, who probably isn't this class.
Yeah, this is a race that gave me nightmares 12 months ago because I had a really confident nap who goes well fresh, yet blew up. Explain that. You should see my face. It was a picture. The 2-stone penalty, yeah, it came true. I think Carrickmore is the one to beat here. I mean, he won at Newbury and he won really well at they beaten Southfield Theatre. And then in the Feltham, I think he was going the stride too quick for his own good when he jumped really well until he got rid of No Fury. But that race was just so bizarre, and I can't actually describe it much in words. It was just bizarre. I think tomorrow on this really testing ground, they'll go a stride slower. He can pop out in front as well, and Wayne Hutchinson is a fantastic jockey, as we know, and I could just see him giving him a nice, sympathetic ride, per se, from the front, and I can see him being the one to beat. The one that I'll see chasing him home is a course winner in Wings of Smoke, who won at Haydock in May on soft ground, and I'm not exactly the biggest fan of Tim Vaughan, but I can see him chasing him home.
Brave/stupid, I'm going to go for.
Well, he's won at Haydock on soft ground, though, and course form at Haydock, I think, is relevant, because you need horses that A, go on the ground, and B, handle Haydock, and Haydock heavy, oh my word.
Why don't you go for Third Intention then?
Because I don't think 2 mile 5 on really, really heavy ground is what he wants. I mean, I know he won on over 2 miles on soft ground. I think that's potentially what he wants. And it was disappointing last time I fought in the Desert Orchid. I actually fancied him that day because he was overpriced and he didn't run very well.
I agree. He ran a decent race in the Tingle Creek to come 5th. I mean, granted, it wasn't the strongest renewal of the race, but he ran a hell of a lot better than a few people thought that he would. I'm going to agree with you in Carrickmore. I don't think Kempton was his track at all. I think he sort of fell into the Just the Par category of last year, that he's almost too big to act around Kempton, especially with the speed that Coney went off and we're asking the others to jump at. Haydock's much more his track. It's a much more galloping track. The fences probably take a bit more jumping as well. It's just easier to travel around than sort of going pedal to the metal straight away from the drop of the flag. So I'd give Carrickmore another chance, hoping that his jumping can be touched up a little bit. Wayne Hutchinson's no bad jockey booking whatsoever, as I'm sure this guy next to me will tell you multiple times, multiple times in my life.
He's not been as good this year.
you got actually disappointed by that.
Yeah,
this is a really big thing for you.
Yeah. There's no chalk angle this year.
Moleshi will probably be the pace angle. Whether he can stay there, I have my doubts about that. I think this is just a race too hot for him. I'd probably be quite surprised if Third Intention isn't the one that's chasing him home. It's boring to say so, but these two are by far the two best horses in the race. Third Intention is a long way clear on official ratings. So I'd have Carrickmore to beat Third Intention, but Carrickmore will have to smarten up his jumping a little bit if he's going to win tomorrow. Carrickmore for me. For you?
I like none of these. Carrickmore was a horse I was a fan of, and then he got ruined at Ascot, and I'm not sure if I don't know. I can't see Third Intention winning. I don't know what it is, but over this trip, I think he's definitely vulnerable.
You're going to see him being anchored right out the back tomorrow, can't you?
Do you think?
I can see it.
So who goes forward? Moleshi?
Moleshi's the confirmed pace angle. I don't know about Maggio, maybe.
I think Maggio might run well. I mean, he was second in it last year.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Moleshi has to lead, basically.
Yeah.
He doesn't. Yeah. He hasn't got any other running start.
So it might be quite a slog. I don't see Third Intention winning, and I think Carrickmore has the potential to be too good for these, but as he's got potentially got improvement to come. He's very risky at 13-8. So I think the 10s on Maggio, if he's back to more what he was like last year. I know he's not been that good this year, but he may have just taken a bit of time just to come to hand this season. He was rated 143 after winning at Kelso in a listed contest. Probably wasn't the best, but beat Mr. Moonshine. Beat Mr. Moonshine.
Best race ever run at Kelso.
Beat Mr. Moonshine. So he'll stay all day. I think 10s on him. I'd rather take that. If I'd have to have a bet, I'd rather take 10s on him than short price on the other two.
Yeah, it's a deceptive race to sort of try and analyse that one. But we're going to move down to one that it's just as easy to analyse at 3 o'clock at Ascot. It's the race that we're all really going to be waiting for tomorrow afternoon, the Clarence House over 2 miles and 1. It's a Grade 1 that sees the return of the dubbed Black Aeroplane, Sprinter Sacre. He's been off the tracks for 386 days now, ever since pulling up at Kempton against Saïd Agrouji with an irregular heartbeat. Now, Adam, this is where it gets tricky.
Yeah.
Okay, first question, how fit is Sprinter Sacre going to be tomorrow? Second question, can he win? Third question, will he win?
Answer to all 3 questions, I don't know. I don't even...
Good to have you here, Adam.
No, but what I'm going to say is, I don't even think... The thing is, I don't even think Nicky Henderson knows himself the answer to any of them questions. It's one of 2 scenarios for me. I had it to 3 scenarios, but he's a definite runner now, because the third scenario was that it was going to be too much rain and Nicky was going to pull him out on the day. He either wins by half a track or he pulls up. And at the price, he's not worth a bet. I mean, 9-4 the other day when there were still doubts about him running, I wasn't even convinced then. And I'm afraid to say it's a no-bet race because there's too much regarding Sprinter Sacre, will he, won't he? And that is enough to put me straight off a bet in the race. I'd love to see him come back, I'd love to see him win, but I honestly don't know what to expect from him tomorrow. If Barry Geraghty's happy, I mean, the thing I will say about the Newbury Gallop, he did make a bad mistake. I know it was a sign of freshness, but you don't want him doing that tomorrow early on, because if he makes a horlicks of a mistake, I mean, he's never done it in a race per se, but if he does that tomorrow and he's on the back foot, I wouldn't be surprised if they were soft with him, because they're not going to want a particularly hard race as well. It's tricky. I mean, without Sprinter Sacre, if I analyse it without them, Dodging Bullets does all his winning in the autumn, and January, February, March and April, and his price is rancid. Twinlight and Summersby are the other 2, and Twinlight isn't trustworthy. If I had to have a bet, if it was a market without Sprinter Sacre, I'd chance Summersby. He won the race 2 years ago, and he is a model of consistency. I mean, I know we've sort of slagged him off in the past. Well, I have, unfairly, I'll say, but he's just a generally good yardstick. And if Sprinter Sacre comes back to his best and wins by 20 lengths, I see Summersby chasing him home. And fair play, I will say, to connections of Grey Gold, Richard Lee and co. Fair play to them turning up and getting at least 5th place prize money of £3,000, and he is an admirable performer on soft ground as well. I honestly don't know what to expect from Sprinter Sacre. If he goes and wins, fair play. If not, then I expect him to be retired.
Yeah, well, the last time they took a chance with Grey Gold for some prize money, they went and spanked Michael Dagonet in one of the Punchestown festivals. So
Exactly.
whether that'll happen tomorrow, I'm not 100% sure about that. I get what you say about Twin Light, and I'll make this quick because it's not really what the race is about. Twin Light. I think he'd be let's talk all about Twin Light. He'd be the each way alternative for me, and the one that's, if there is one that's going to chase Sprinter Sacre home that you can put up. But I'd have that down as him. He just has to have a going day tomorrow. The form figures of first at Nav, and then he got pulled up behind Felix Younger. That was very much not a going day. But last time out at Leopardstown, he won very impressively.
What caused that? I mean, I would argue that this is probably his best run.
Which one?
Twin Light, last one.
Last one.
That was a weird race, though. I mean, really
it was
weird.
a strange race.
Honestly, the horse is just very, very inconsistent. I'd love to know why, but it just it's going to be shooting myself in the foot. But he can't really seem to string races together. He had a.
To be fair, I mean, last year, before running at Kempton that day, behind Captain Chris, he was rated 162. So I rated 163.
I liked him that day at Kempton. I just thought.
That's why he lost, right? That's one drama solved.
Right, that solved that one.
Right, Sprinter Sacre, I believe, is running in this race. It sounds harsh. I'd be disappointed if he didn't win tomorrow. He's just a lot better than these, even if he does turn up 50% fit. As long as he jumps, he really has no excuses as to why he shouldn't be winning. Obviously, he won't be 100% fit yet, which is why
I promise you, I guarantee he'll be as fit as he could possibly be tomorrow.
Yeah, he won't. As fit without having a run.
Yeah,
effectively.
Can I make a point? Very
anything 75% stuff.
No, I'm just saying, if he was 75%, he could still.
There is no way on this planet.
I'm just saying.
No, but I'm just saying.
If he was.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, mate.
He won't be. There is no way he'll be cooks in this. So whatever you get tomorrow is what he is for me.
I'd like to say as well, I was at Newbury the day he had his schooling session, and he looked magnificent that day. He knew exactly why he was there. He was sort of trotting around everywhere, taking everything in. He jumped on the hole fairly well. He fluffed up one at the open ditch down the back straight, but he got himself out of trouble, and he went on and jumped 3 after that with immaculate ease. So there were no worries out of that. You can read as much into it as you want. It's probably been over sort of analysed, that schooling session, but from what we got from it, he's in good heart with himself. I'd be disappointed if he's not winning tomorrow. The ground shouldn't be that much of an issue. It should be about as soft as it was at Newbury that day. It probably might even be better ground. So I have no problems with Sprinter Sacre tomorrow. I hope for horse racing that he turns up and wins by half the track, and we can start thinking about the champion chase for him.
Can I pose a question about that? Can I genuinely pose a question about that? If he were to win tomorrow and he won by half the track, would you trust him in putting up another similar performance?
Like, that is literally what I'm about to say.
No, I wouldn't. No,
I don't think I could trust him. If he goes and wins by half the track tomorrow, I wouldn't trust him for the championship.
That is my hunch. I think he'll win. I think he'll win really well tomorrow. Personally, I just got this feeling he will win really well tomorrow and potentially bomb out at Cheltenham.
Can
I
go back?
That's how I like.
Yeah.
Go on.
Can I go back into a long time ago? Nicky Henderson had a similar horse called Remittance Man. Now, the only difference between Remittance Man and Sprinter Sacre was that they actually tried 3 miles in the King George and he didn't stay. Now, Remittance Man won a champion chase, came back, won a couple of races, then was off for a year and a bit with injury, came back, won his prep race for the champion chase, and he beat a horse called Deep Sensation on the bridle. He then fell in the champion chase when he didn't look like a winner either, and then bombed out completely after that. He went to Aintree and disappointed, and then I think came out a year later in a handicap chase off top weight and was really disappointing. So I could see the similarity between these two. Both top-level performers, and I don't want this to happen, but I can see it happening in a similar way.
I actually agree. But tomorrow, if we're talking about tomorrow, I think he'll be as fit as he possibly can be, and should win quite comfortably. Because Dodging Bullets, I agree that he's a early season horse.
Not good enough anyway.
Probably not good enough anyway. Summersby, yeah, he should run well. I know he fell in this last year, didn't he? Seated behind Celia Cruzy. But he should run well. He's won over this.
He won
course.
this race.
Did he win this race?
Yeah, he beat Finian's Rainbow, didn't he?
Yeah,
It was this race he won.
Yeah, it was the Victor Chandler back then.
Yeah, that's why I'm getting mixed up. It is genuinely. I had it down. I was like, Charles House. Yeah. Summersby, I think, will run well, but if Sprinter doesn't turn up, I think he's the one who picks up the pieces. But
yeah,
let's hope. It'd be great to see him back.
It's nice to talk of the champion chase as well, but let's just, we've waited a long time for this. Let's just get it out of the way first, and then we can start thinking of Cheltenham afterwards.
I just want to be extremely realistic rather than get my expectations up. That's my way of looking at it as well.
That's how girls go into dates with you as well, isn't it?
That's harsh. Come on.
Apologies.
That's pretty much.
Since when have we been nice to Adam on this show?
No, I'm
Never.
defending him. I've agreed with him a lot today, so I'm sticking up for my buddy.
You realise
Callum.
that he won't be here this evening. I was rip into you now.
No, that's fine.
I'll take it. 3:15 at Haydock is our next port of call, the Peter Marsh Chase, a Grade 2 handicap of 3 miles and a furlong. Field of 13's turned up here, and most of them, Adam, are kept out of the handicap by a Hey Big Spender, who is suffering for a win in the rehearsal chase earlier on this year.
Yeah, I described this race to you guys earlier as a disappointment because about 10, 20, 30 years ago, this race used to be a Gold Cup trial / Grand National trial. Now, as I said to you, none of these will ever win a Cheltenham Gold Cup, and I don't see any of these winning a Grand National either. Collingwood is near the top of the market, and I can see the case for him. I mean, he jumps really well, he goes from the front. I know he's won on soft ground, but I just think about Haydock's really testing ground, and I don't think it'll suit him personally. But he could, if he does go on it, I can see him going for the front and getting a lot of these in trouble. Broadway Buffalo, last time out, he went back to his old ways, but a return to Haydock, I still can't trust him. He'll probably go and win tomorrow. I said this when he won the Tommy Whittle, but last time out, I thought he went in, he still looked well treated, and he made a Horlicks of a mistake at the same fence he did at Weatherby, like he did the first time he went there. So maybe it's Weatherby, who knows? The selection, I quite like Toby Larone in this. He was second to Broadway Buffalo and was up with that frenetic pace. It was silly. In a 3 mile chase around Haydock in testing ground, and they went that sort of gallop. And I thought he did really well to stay with Broadway Buffalo going to the line as well. I thought he was going to be beaten a fair distance. Now, the distance isn't a worry, and I think they'll be more sensible with him here. And with the pull as well, I think he could be the one to beat here. Another one I'm going to have to mention Amigo, because he's a horse that I've liked for a while. And when he ran in the Welsh National, not the last one, the year before, I said that he'd win a big 3 mile handicap chase. Now, this is the first time, I think, apart from the Welsh National trial, in which he gets these conditions that he's wanted. But it's disappointing running the Welsh National this time. It dampens my enthusiasm on him. So it's Toby Larone for me.
Yeah, I can definitely see the angle on Toby Larone. I've been a fan of his for quite a while now. I can see him running a big race tomorrow, but how he's £5 out of the handicap, is it?
Yeah.
Or five
So
or six.
he's probably off the same terms with Broadway Buffalo.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know what I haven't worked it out, but I mean, Broadway Buffalo gave him £1, so and a pounding, so.
And Toby Larone, he's never going to do anything flashy. He's just going to be this sort of the same grinding out horse. He'll jump very well. That's the one thing you got reassured about Toby Larone. He'll stay absolutely all day as well. It's the first time that Harry Skelton's going to be riding him in his last 4 starts as well. So Harry Skelton hasn't actually rode him when he's had blinkers, and he's clearly improved for blinkers as well. He won his first race wearing them really nicely in bottomless ground at Lingfield. Then he came second, as we've just mentioned, behind Broadway Buffalo. So I can see Toby Lerone going very well. 11 to 1, I think, is a decent price for him. I was surprised about the horse I'm going to put up. I'm surprised how big he is in the market. He's 10 to 1. There's no planning. He's been in very good form himself. He won Chase and he's won a hurdle last time out when Callum Bewley actually partnered him on that occasion. He rode him very well. They backed him very heavily that day as well. I think that was sort of Christmas money making it back on Boxing Day. That came at Weatherby. He's a strong enough stayer, so 3 miles 1 isn't really going to affect him at all. He's in a good run of form sort of around winter time last year as well. He won a couple of races, but he's now having to battle some very high handicap marks. He's off 147 tomorrow. Callum Bewley takes off an extra £5. He's a more than useful claimer, so there's no worries on that front. I'm not convinced it's the strongest Peter Marsh whatsoever, and he's not really going to have to run to his mark. I'd suggest that to really be taking the world of beating in this. Sue Smith's Yard are beginning, I've said it for a long time now, they're beginning to find their feet, and they've had a few winners in the past few weeks, so they're a yard that you can trust now, whereas earlier on in the season they were having no luck at all in any stretch, in any spirit in this sport. But I can just see No Planning going okay tomorrow. He's got ground in his favour, that's absolutely fine. He jumps well enough, so there's nothing that's really against him tomorrow except for a steep handicap mark. If that's not enough to stop him, then he'll be running a huge race. He'll be bang there at the end, and 10 to 1 could look like a big price. As for the rest, I'm just not sure. I think Toby Lerone would be the alternative, but again, he's another each way price, so maybe Dutch them two each way, and we'll see how we go. Are you siding with me on no? Callum's not siding with me on No Planning. He's going to go for.
I'm going to do it again.
No, why? What?
One more go. One more go on Broadway Buffalo. Massive cliff horse. What else do I say? Yeah, last time, what I love about this horse is that when they held him up,
Don't worry.
When they held him up, he just does things in such an easy manner. He jumps with such style and panache. And last time at Weatherby, he was just lobbing along, and then all of a sudden the race heated up, and he was just way out of position. And at Haydock before, over course and distance, when he actually bolted up, being Toby Lerone, and they're only £2 difference now because of Toby Lerone being out of the handicap. He looks a beast, and he's 2 from 2 at this track, and still well handicapped, or £3 lower than what he is over fences. And with so little of these convincing me, I think if he can't win tomorrow, then I will definitely give up on him, because everything is right tomorrow. So. And there's horses like Corin Wood that, I just can't back whatsoever.
We watched the RSA back this week, and the first comment was, how fast have they gone on Anacotti and Corin Wood? Who are riding them? They went at 2 mile speed.
That's outrageous.
That's why you need a stayer to win the RSA.
Ben just 10. He's getting on, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's not much racing.
Yeah.
They're just Green Flag Shangani. They don't really convince me. Broadway Buffalo, last chance, and maybe they run a bit slower on heavy, and it doesn't catch him out. So 6 to 1, just about fair.
I just want to say, I've said some mean things about Green Flag in my time, but the thing about the yard, they had Lucinda Russell on, I think it was IUK, last week, and she said that they've been out of form for quite a while now, and she's just changed a few things around, and they started having a few winners recently. So Green Flag will be one to keep an eye on. I'd say probably more towards the back end of the season. If he won
tomorrow, I would be gutted, because I was all over him for the Beach Chase, and
I don't think tomorrow is the day. I think he'll be probably a Scottish National again.
He didn't stay for me. That's the thing, the Scottish National. He came there to win the race, and he just stopped. He literally stopped. I actually did question, because he ran so badly, did that bottom him, potentially? Because the way he stopped, it was like, as using Lee Armstrong's phrase, he stopped like he was shot. It was horrible to watch, if I'm being honest.
Such a beautiful term from a Scouser.
I
One last port of call to Ascot today, and then 3:35 is the Bet365 handicap day, so 2 miles 5 and 110 yards. I'm going to get to questions after this. Any other questions or fancies for tomorrow, you can send them into @OnTheOtherHoof. We'll read them out just after we have previewed this race. A field of 12 go to post. Now we're going to break the mold here. We're going to break the mold here. Go on. Tell them what you've done. Tell them what you have done.
Knew it. Right, just hear me out, okay?
If we can all sit on our hands and just keep our lips shut.
I'm first going to mention, I think there's quite a lot of pace in the race. Also, like Nice One Frankie are going to go all guns blazing from the front. There's a lot of horses that have gone up for wins, and considerably in the weights for wins, such as Bobcat Billy, Ballon Farrig, who I don't think are very well handicapped anymore. 10 on Nivernais, I think he probably runs well. And there's horses like Eastlake, he hasn't been well handicapped for about 2 years. And Fox Appeal, I think I'm sure Adam will go for him, but
I'm not.
What?
You're not?
No.
Anyway, I'll get to my point. Cedra Blur. Now,
What?
we all know this horse is an absolute hound. I'm not afraid to admit that he hates winning. But he has some of the best handicap form in this race. A second entry behind Paul Master, and twice has run really well here, i.e. travelling the best and then deciding that he doesn't want to win. Now, he's a good each-way price tomorrow at 16-1 because I really can't see him out of the place.
I'm sorry. Okay, I agree with the place bit. I think he's
That's what I'm saying. I think.
Okay.
I'm not going to back him to win.
Then get rid of the win part of the each-way bet and put that bit on the place as well.
All right, I probably will, but I'm looking now. He's 3-1 for a place tomorrow.
That's fine. That's okay.
I think that's a really good bet.
But the 16's about to win. Just get rid of that.
Well, that's 4-1 for a place, isn't it?
Yeah. But then you've got to waste some money on him winning.
Well, genuinely, I would not be totally shocked if he won that because I think it's a dreadful race.
I'd be stunned. I'd genuinely be stunned.
But last time I don't think he was fully 100% after a tough race at Aintree, and I don't think he stays that far anyway, fully. Drop back down in trip, goes on soft ground. He's ticking every box apart from he's a dog. I genuinely think 3-1 for him to place is a good bet.
Fair enough. Breaking the mould completely. Going to me now. I can't believe he's done that. Bad Callum.
Oh, when he wins, it's going to be hilarious.
I'd keel over and die, honestly.
I might just have to back him to win just in hope that it happens.
To be fair to Sam Whaley-Cohen, he gave him one of the best rides you'll see around Aintree in defeat. And he should, if the horse had been willing, he obviously would have won. But he had to kid him into it. Got to the elbow, and you're thinking, if he goes past here, this is going to be one of the greatest rides you'll ever see. And he's still, I felt so sorry for Whaley-Cohen because he knew once he came off the bridle, he wasn't going to put it in. Oh.
Do you know what's made the difference with him? It's the application of the hood along with the tongue tie and the blinkers.
They're going to put cheap pieces on next, and oh, God.
Oh, poor
cheap
horse.
pieces clearly don't work on him.
He's such a talented horse.
But I mean, a second to Houdlon de Rouble at Ascot. Well,
wait, I'm sorry. He should have beaten Houblon de Zobo that day as well, because I backed Houblon de Zobo, and he travelled all over him.
Yeah, he
got to the front
remember.
and just stopped.
I remember that race.
He won here 3 years ago.
Everybody blamed Daryl Jacob for the horse's defeat, and then they soon realised a couple of months later why it wasn't Daryl Jacob's fault that he lost.
He did beat Pete Rose in a decent handicap at Haydock in 2013 as well.
Yeah, I remember that.
The number two, the amount of twos he's had.
We're going to move on. We're going to move on now,
We've
guys.
talked too much about Cedric Blur.
I fancy Cedric Blut now. We're going to go for. I'm going to sign with Nice One Frankie tomorrow. He's 2 from 2.
Brilliant, modern favourite.
Cedric Blut? Seriously, bro? He's only up £7 for winning it at Cheltenham, and he won a lot easier than the winning margin is described as. That it was all over at the top of the hill, effectively. He jumped so well on that occasion. He's clearly in very good form himself. He only won 6 lengths that day. Turning for home, he was about 20 lengths clear and still on the bridle. He did finish the race a bit tired, so that you can understand why he's been off for 35 days now, just over a month. So if he's over that run, oh God, I think someone agrees with you on Cedric Bleu, Mully. Yeah, I just thought he's a clever one, that clever cookie, that McDowell. But if Nice One Frankie's got over his exertions from Cheltenham that day, he clearly likes Ascot. If he can go from the front and sort of set down the same gauntlet as he did in the Caspian Caviar Gold Cup, then he will take a lot of catching. I still think off 149, there's still one more win in him. He's run at the Cheltenham Festival before and disappointed, so I think tomorrow could be the one last hurrah until he's confined to the badly handicapped bin for about a season. But I'm more than willing to give Nice One Frankie one last chance. It's been a great horse this season. I don't actually think there's an each-way selection. I think Cedric Bleu, he could be a very good place bet. But you really, in all seriousness, you really do have to have if you want to back in each way to win, because he could
each
come
way
there.
To win.
Each way with the win part. You want to focus on that. Apologies, that's awful English. Bad.
I'm definitely going to have a 5 running to win just in case.
And he will, if he is close enough, then he'll come there absolutely cantering, and you'll be counting your money, and then he will just stop. He will not go past. So good luck to you if you are back in Cedric Bleu. I think he's a very good place bet though for tomorrow. But Nice One Frankie for me to take the win part of things. Adam, your last say.
Well, price-wise agrees with me, and I like the other Venetia horse, Tenor Nivene, who I think would have been closer on New Year's Day had he not made a mistake at the top of the hill. And I think that is some of the strongest handicap form you've got here. I mean, you've got Splash of Ginger, who won the race. You got Humpball. I know Humpball came out and was disappointing, but that was down to the ground at Kempton last week. And I just think there's a bit of improvement there over fences as well. And I think Tom Scudamore takes the ride. I think the second string of Venetia is the one to be on. I think Nice One Frankie's done his winning for now. And if there's a lot of pace on tomorrow, he's not going to get the easy lead like he did last time out. And I just like Tenor Nivene tomorrow. I will mention Eastlake. This isn't the plan for him. I think the long-term aim is the Topham Trophy, which he was third to Mathieu last year, and he jumped them fences really well. So when he goes back to Aintree, I think he'll be one to keep on side there. And I think I've got about half a dozen horses that I'll be wanting to keep on side in that race. So when we get to that, that'll be an interesting race to preview. Tenor Nivene is the one to beat.
Interesting. Right, last chance, guys, for questions to get in On the Other Hoof. We're going to go through most of them now. I've actually had quite a lot of people tweeting in, so thank you very much for your contributions towards tonight's show. It makes our jobs a hell of a lot easier because we don't have to babble on for a long time talking utter garbage like I said. Right, and go back into last week's. Kai Wills. Top notch, Sprinter Sacra, and Out Sound. Is it a banker treble, guys?
No.
Top notch wins.
I actually don't. I'm not sure on top notch. I think he's a grinder, and I think he wants 2.5 already.
But he's so much better than Golden Doyen.
Yeah.
I think Golden Doyen's really overrated.
I think that whole juvenile form with him in, like Hargam and Karazak.
Sorry, Hargam. Honestly,
I really don't rate that form at all.
Hargam is still up there in the Triumph Hurdle betting. I think he is so soft.
I think he's probably 3rd, 4th, maybe even 5th choice of Henderson's.
Honestly, yeah. I just think Hargam is so soft. I don't think he's up for a battle whatsoever. And you can't win a Triumph Hurdle unless you're Alcona by not getting into a battle.
Yeah, that would be if he won a Triumph Hurdle. I think both of us would be absolutely stunned.
I'll keel over and die.
I'd be absolutely stunned. They've seen
um,
Peace and Co looks top notch.
Kai goes on to say, Kitten Rock and Rule the World chances at Nace. I'll talk about Rule the World in a bit, actually, my friend. Phil Dinsdale, comedy duo, is on At the Races. What's At the Races you speak of?
And here, I took Sid Revert.
That's the entertainment sorted until 8 p.m. when the other comedy show starts on the other hoof. # Friday Night Fun. Well, we're glad we contribute.
Did not disappoint.
And we were on 8:15, so apologies. Joe Condren. Hi guys, John Franco on At the Races telling the hosts the whipping of horses should be banned. What do you think?
Did you spell it right?
Yeah, he did. He did.
Yeah.
Well done.
Can I answer? Not answer the question, but I had an idea for us. You know the 5-minute forum thing we did.
Yeah.
Well, you guys did. And you got Dan Kelly on. If we did it again, would we answer that question in that style? So as long as
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
We will answer it at one point, but for now, I have masses of respect for John Franklin. I think he's one of the gentlemen of the sport, and I just think he's an absolute genius. But tonight, I think he was very wrong.
I'm stunned it's come from a jockey.
Honestly,
that's what stunned me. Is that a jockey? I think it's the first ever time I've heard a jockey say that the whip is useless.
Maybe, but then again, he may have said it for a reaction, though, because not.
Yeah,
and he must
say
have
for a reaction.
Surely can't believe that.
It's as if the producers at ATR have gone to him and said, "Say something that
Out
would
there.
get Twitter stirring and
Well,
get
it has.
people watching." And it has. I mean, if that was their job, then they've done a bloody good job.
Yeah.
Although the views he has on Aintree, he's had them views for a long time.
Yeah, that's fair enough though. But to come out and
with
say something like the whip doesn't affect the outcome of the race, I think it's just.
Tried to tell that to Mikel Barcelona yesterday.
Yeah, and to say that Emperor's Choice, he said that Emperor's Choice would still have won the Welsh National if Aidan Coleman didn't have a whip, and none of the other jockeys had a whip as well, so it was level playing field. Frank, we'll answer that another day. Yeah, we'll answer it another day. Phil Dinsdale, 2 bets tomorrow, 12:20 at Haydock, Kingswell Theatre, 1:50 at Haydock, Carol Spirit, backed in singles and a double. Good luck, Phil.
Good luck with Carol Spirit at Haydock. She's at Ascot.
At Ascot? Yeah, that's where it is. Well, he didn't say where it's running, he just said the time, so I thought, well, probably Haydock.
No, you said 1:50 at Haydock. I'm thinking, oh.
Yeah, no, but he didn't say the race afterwards.
Oh, right, okay.
Chris Heath, chance of twin light in the Clarence house at Ascot. Could Callum cover some of the races over at Maidan? What is his best picks at big odds? Anything fancy tomorrow, mate?
It's a really tough card tomorrow. I might nap there. Which ones are like? I've done a piece actually. So, Centrifugal in the 12:45, Le Half in the 1:20, and On War in the 1:55.
Right, so there's a Trixie for you there, Chris. Now our favourite tweet that came in this evening came from Kelly Glenn. He's gone for Waleshi in the 2:40, and in the Clarence house at Ascot, he's gone for Dogging Bullets. Dogging Bullets, everyone.
Kelly Glenn.
I think Dodging Bullets was the.
I think we're going to have for Dodging Bullets there. So good luck there, Kelly. I think Dodging Bullets may struggle tomorrow. Ryan West, a question for Adam, and I know Adam's replied to this. Does he know when Maximizer will next run? Surprised he hasn't been seen since York. Adam?
He's injured. He's out for the year. He was entered in the Shallow Hurdle and was jocked up as well. I think if he'd have gone there, he'd have had a huge chance. He's a horse that I've got a lot of time for, and when he goes chasing next year, he'll be one to watch. I can't wait to see him again, because the win at Haydock was so impressive. And how he was allowed to go, he was as big as 4-1, I don't know. I really don't.
Tim Devine, how far does Broadway Buffalo win the Peter Marsh by, please?
I think on the snaff by 5.
Ooh.
-15. That's what you've got to do OBG as well. An OBG tweeted us saying, obviously the big race of the day is the OBG Mares Hurdle. What do you fancy? And we were already covering that race at OBG.
Bit of a puzzle.
Yeah, a bit of a puzzle. Chris Heath, one more question. Each way double, Vintage Star at 11-1 and 3:15 at Haydock, and Akatak at 25-1 and 3:35.
There's been a bit of money for Akatak, I noticed. Vintage Star, I've been quite worried how poorly he's travelled lately.
Yeah, there's just been a few. There's been a few worries actually. He hasn't jumped on occasion.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just
taking the headgear off him today. That's something
Yeah,
she
but
said.
is that a plus? I mean,
I don't.
I
She thinks it's a plus. She said cheap.
I mean,
pieces.
I think you put him up in at Weatherby because of the cheap pieces, didn't you?
Yeah, I thought he'd have a. It's in the Royal America. I thought he'd go very close in there.
Yeah,
But
and I could see the angle if the cheap pieces had made a difference, but
they just didn't.
he just doesn't look the same horse at the moment. Maybe that. I mean, even his first run was all right. I mean, maybe it's just that pulling up at Aintree, fall at Cheltenham, maybe just falling out of love with it.
He didn't jump very well in the last
Could be wrong, Bolter, but
no. And he's off a lenient enough mark as well. He's not badly handicapped.
He's well handicapped if he's back to his best. I mean, finished second to Hey Big Spender this mark.
I wouldn't be surprised if Sue Smith soon enough pitched him in other hurdles because his hurdles mark is 1.25.
Second in this last year, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, don't remind me of this race a year ago.
£4 higher.
Well, he's £12 lower over hurdles, and they did the same with no planning and absolutely hacked up. And they landed a touch on him that day as well. So possibly one to touch with caution tomorrow, I think, Chris. Phil Dinsdale, if the ground's as bad as what you say, is Nigel Twiston-Davis taking a gamble running the new one? I don't think so.
No.
It's not too close to Cheltenham.
How dare he run his horse before Cheltenham?
Good flat boy there. It's not too close to Cheltenham. He's not going to bottom him. He shouldn't really have too hard of a race anyway. There isn't that much in that field that can get him off the bridle. So
I described the race the other day as a racecourse gallop with prize money. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. So I don't think it is that much of a risk. Poor misguided fool. Also known as Gary
That
Woods.
was awful. Don't ever do that again.
He says it's been dry here since Wednesday night. Here is Ascot. So the ground should not be too bad tomorrow. Ari Good, Garde La Victoire, and Sprinter Sacra will just be bloody cold. That's fair enough. Enjoy Ascot tomorrow. Phil Dinsdale. Russian Bill tomorrow at Nace should win very easily, but the race not priced up yet. And he says don't have a bet in the race that Sprinter Sacra's in the Clarence house. Just hope he's back and wins for racing.
Yeah, totally agree.
Completely agree with that one, Phil. Jeff Handley, who had one bet and one winner last week, so well on that one, Jeff. Ben Benz at 7-1 looks the value bet. Will be more suited by the trip at Haydock than Welsh National. Still ran okay. And Ben's got a decent chance.
Yeah.
Give him a chance.
Definitely got a handicap in him, hasn't he?
Yeah, agree.
I know Adams thought the same. How well he jumped at Aintree before.
Yeah, before he came down. Yeah.
I was really surprised to see him come down. And Welsh National, I think
he just didn't stay up there.
Yeah, it's a tough.
And I think he's gone down a couple of pounds as well. So, I mean, on that form behind Charingworth with Broadway Buffalo involved, got to have a chance.
Kai Wills, one horse that you boys are most looking forward to seeing at the festival, except for Fahim. Because that's how we've got out of that question the past few weeks. You know what? I'd say Alvizio Ville.
Alvizio Ville, definitely.
Alvizio Ville is a
Can I answer one for next week on Trials Day instead?
Actually, I'll go for something else. Gil Gamboa is a horse I'm really starting to be sweet on.
I like Gil Gamboa.
Okay.
I'm going to give you one for Trials Day next week. I cannot wait to see Value at Risk again in the flesh. I love him.
That's not the festival, is it?
He goes to the festival potentially, and if he goes to the festival...
Answer his question.
Okay, then Pity Zig in the JLT. There we go. We're going to the World Hurdle now. Oh.
Alvizio Ville, but I'll make the point, I don't want him to run in the Supreme. I've backed him for the Albert Bartlett, and it's not just because of that. I don't think he's an out-and-out 2-mile hurdler. I think he goes to the Deloitte next.
And that's the Supreme trial.
I do think he'll be a better horse over further. I wouldn't be against him running in the Neptune. I think that would probably be more the ideal race for him. But I definitely wouldn't be opposed to him running in the Albert Bartlett. I just think that the Supreme is all wrong for him. That would be the one race I wouldn't fancy him in if he went for it. So that's my say on Alvizio Ville. I also think after last week, Del Arca would have a good chance in the Coral Cup. I imagine he'll run one more time before the festival, and you wouldn't really see him to full effect in that. But he ran a decent race in the Coral Cup last year off a similar mark as he is now. So hopefully he can go well again this year. Race hour tweeted us. We may need some wages for tomorrow. Probably. I've heard it's not great weather around the Haydock area. I think Adam can.
Right.
Yeah, there we go. That's enough. Matthew Wynn, Luke picking a Sue Smith horse. # shot. Yep. Thanks, Matt.
Unlucky with
Nice
profile
to
star
hear.
last week, by the way.
Matt. Phil Dinsdale, until next time, Callum Liddell on Broadway Buffalo. Fair play, he does stick to his horses. #
This is the last time. This is the last time.
Until next time.
It's like I put Foxtrot Romeo at once, and Phil thought I was like indebted to the horse for life. Oh,
He won. He won the other week.
Shockingly, he won a race. I can't believe it.
He bolted up.
I know.
Ryan, I'm going to guess his name is Ryan March on his Twitter handle. Good evening, Ryan. I don't think we've heard from Ryan before, so he's a new one. Great show, guys. 4 selections for tomorrow. He wants, for us, he wants 4 selections for tomorrow. Value each way Yankee or a lucky 15.
Jesus.
That's a tough one. That is a real tough one.
I was going to say take our naps and then we'll combine one together.
Take our 3 naps that we're going to put up at the end of the show.
Yeah, but they probably won't be value each way bets, will they?
Yeah, it doesn't
I'll
work.
give one at a price then. I'll give you one at a price.
Adam will give you one.
Brilliant.
I do like no planning. I think he'll sort of 10 to 1. I think he's.
I'll put one up at Maidan.
I think from me, I'll put in no planning at 10 to 1.
I hate you.
In the Peter Marsh.
Well, I was going to give you Toby Larone in the Peter Marsh, but being as he's just going to give you that. Abracadabra Sibler each way then. There we go. I'll give you that.
The Abracadabra Sevilla from Adam. No planning from me.
Centrifugal in the 12.45 at Maidan. It should be a double figure price.
Right, so there's that one. I always feel that Lucky 15 needs a banker just to help it something roll on.
Sedgeborough for a place.
Well, no, but with the Lucky 15, I always put a shorter price one.
Yeah.
Like I want to put Rule the World in there.
Yeah, no, I'd go with that.
Okay, so Rule the World. We're going to put a banker in for you, and that'll be. He's 7 to 4 at the moment. He's much shorter elsewhere, but with Bet365, I think he's much bigger. So Rule the World over at Nace. That's no planning at Haydock, Centrifugal at Maidan, Rule the World at Nace, and Abracadabra Sevilla at Ascot.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go, Ryan. Good luck with that. You can send us the winnings in the post. That was hard work. Phil Dinsdale, one last tweet from him. Now I know you've lost the plot, Callum Liddell tipping Cedric Blur. But then, alternatively, we get Steve Mullington. That Mr. Liddell was the smartest cookie on that panel tonight. Here's why.
What he's gone for Cedric Blur.
Oh my word! I'll have a chat with him tomorrow at Haydock. I'll book him in to see the psychiatrist.
Having a quick look at his blog to see what he's put up. Yeah, Cedric Blur.
Me and Mully are such shrewdies. It's
oh
unreal.
God! Let's not talk about you two being shrewdies. Whenever you two teams have come together, you seem to win. So it's Ray. Oh.
You know the Ray, buddy.
I have a question. Well, somebody sent me a question. Jake, is it Acas or Akasa? What did we agree on? I forgot.
Acas. I don't know. I go for both.
He asked us what are our views on Close Touch, and do we think he'll run at the festival in maybe the JLT? I think he wins tomorrow, and he's a big price tomorrow. Even though he's odds on, I think he's a big price compared to Colour Squadron, who we all know what he does. And if he wasn't in the race Colour Squadron, he'd be 1 to 5 or 1 to 6.
Yeah. Who would win in a race out of Colour Squadron and Cedric Blur?
Definitely Colour
I say Colour Squadron. Yeah. I think Colour Squadron.
Okay. We've got to get your tips out agreeing with us on regards to the Triumph Hurdle. Couldn't agree more. Hargam Golden Doyen form is gutless. And Karazak, the most hardy. That says it all. Agree with that.
Just crap form.
Yeah, it's not great. Peace and Co. really does win that one. Our Connor style. He really does. He really does.
Supreme.
I'd love that. I'd love that if he went for the Supreme. Right. Nap time. Adam.
Toby Larone each way in the Peter Marsh.
You never give yourself a good one, do you? Like, never give yourself an easy jump.
You go for a risky. No.
It's not that risky. I think he's a good horse and just race perfect.
He's a good horse, but it's
And this
risky.
is the second in a treble of. It's 3 weeks in a row that Dan Skelton's going to have a big winner because he had one last week in Three Musketeers, and next week he's going to have Value at Risk at Cheltenham, and this one in the middle is going to be.
It's your fault he's going to lose. The 155 at Nace carries my nap and Rule the World is a Grade 2 novice chase. Rule the World's a very high-class hurdler, distinguished Grade 1 performer, came 6th in the World Hurdle last year. Possible stamina doubts at Cheltenham. There's none really here around Nace, but this is a fairly easy opportunity. He's going to get to win a graded race. He jumped very well on debut when he just lost out to Adriana Desmont. Now, he had to give a stone and a half to Adriana Desmont that day, who has since put it up and was giving Gil Gamboa a bit of a race when she fell at the last against him over Christmas. She wasn't going to come out on top that day, but she is a very high-class mare and a tough one to give all that weight to. Rule the World, it's not a strong Grade 2 whatsoever. He's still, well, he was 7-4 about at bet 365, so I can't see Rule the World get beat. I think you're quite sweet on Rule the World as well, but it's not your nap.
No, I'm going to nap State Law on 11:35.
Oh God,
Maidan. Now look,
that's
if you want to have a look at this race, this is 11:35.
God.
There are about 8 horses with the same colours, so yeah, just listen to it on the radio or something. I don't know.
God.
Good luck, Terry Spargo.
Ryan Marsh has got back in touch saying, amazing, was thinking about Toby Lauren in the 315. Thank you anyway, much appreciated. You are welcome, Ryan Marsh. You are welcome for them losers, my friend. And Phil Dinsdale has said that he's going to buy us all a beer at Cheltenham next week. So thank you very much for that kind offer, Phil.
I'm not. Okay. I'm working.
Well, Phil's going to buy everyone a beer. So
Sorry, Phil.
he hasn't actually said he's going to buy us a beer, but he's going to
we're having a beer together.
He's going to buy us a beer.
Go now.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in tonight. We had quite a lot of Twitter activity tonight, so thank you very much for that. We shall see you again next week, same time, Friday evening, just after 8 p.m. Have a good day tomorrow. We'll hope for racing that Sprinter Sacra is back to his imperious best. Good luck if you're having a bet tomorrow. Have a good weekend. Stay safe. And for everyone here at On the Other Hoof, goodbye.